So in maths, we have these things called conjectures, and it's basically a statement that's given without full evidence. So we need to prove whether conjectures are true or not. There's lots of ways to prove things, and we're going to do a basic look at a conjecture here. So here's an example of a conjecture. A woman crosses the border into Scotland. For the first time, she sees a brown cow, and then her conjecture is all cows in Scotland are brown. What do you think about that statement? Because according to her, she's seen a cow the first time in Scotland, happens to be brown, and she says all cows in Scotland are brown. What could you do with that statement? Well, you might want to test it out, maybe spend a bit longer traveling to see if you can spot cows that aren't brown. And if you don't, then you know that this conjecture is false. And then the other thing you might do is somehow try to find out if every single cow, what colour every single cow in Scotland is, which would be quite hard to do. But in maths, there's ways to test this type of stuff. Maybe not necessarily in this case of testing what colour all cows are or finding out. So this is a conjecture, and what we're going to look at here is this conjecture of testing whether the commutative law is true for operations other than addition. So these are the other operations we're going to look at. So the conjecture would state, I think that the commutative law is true for subtraction. And the way we're going to test this is we're going to make a statement, A minus B is equal to B minus A. Now, that's not enough to prove it's true. So we need to test this by putting some numbers in. So let's see what we can put in. Let's put in 10 minus 5. We'll keep the numbers simple. 5 minus 10. So 10 minus 5 will give me 5. And 5 minus 10 is actually going to give me a negative number. If I have 5 and I take 10 away, I end up with negative 5. So I can automatically see this does not work. I only need to find one example that doesn't work. Much like the previous example about the cow, the moment you see a cow that's not brown, you know the conjecture can't be true. So in this case, we've just proven that the commutative law does not work for subtraction. Can you try to do the same for multiplication and division and see what you get? Now I'm just going to make a correction to this statement because we know that these two things are not equal, so we're going to draw a line through the equal sign. That's not equal. A minus B is not equal to B minus A. You might find an example that is true, for example 0 minus 0. Looks like a little smiley face there. But this doesn't count because if you have one example that doesn't work, then that's good enough to show that it has to apply to everything. So if there's one example it doesn't work, then it doesn't count. So pause the video, have a go. Okay, I hope you've had a go with testing the conjecture for these two operations. I'm going to just come up with a few examples here. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is also 6. So one example works. Let's see if we can think of any more examples here. How about 5 times 4? Is that equal to 4 times 5? I think it is. Now we're not going to obviously be able to test every single number, but I'm quite happy to say that this is true for multiplication. You won't find an example where it doesn't work. And then for division, again, we'll keep the numbers simple. So let's try 10 divided by 2 and 2 divided by 10. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 divided by 10, we know it's not 5, so we don't have to work it out, but I will. I know that 2 over 10 is just going to be 2 over 10. You can write it as a fraction, which is 1 over 5, or sometimes we can write it as 0.2. Either way, it's not equal to 5. So the moment you have one example that doesn't work, you can say this conjecture is proven false. So this does not work for division. So let's just summarize this with a simple example here. Equal or not equal. These are two signs. You may not have possibly seen this sign here. This is just a not equals to sign. Okay, so 18 minus 3 and 3 minus 18, we know that they're not going to be equal to each other. 5 times 4 and 4 times 5, coincidentally the example I just used, so yeah, we know that this is going to be true because the commutative law does apply for multiplication. And then 18 divided by 3 and 3 divided by 18, they're not going to give you the same answer because the commutative law does not apply for subtraction. Okay, so that was the first law of arithmetic. We are going to be looking at some more laws. Make sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and watch out for the remaining videos in this playlist.